Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Micah with Coronavirus Diaries, and today I am fortunate enough to be able to speak with Corey Benson, the owner of Curbside Productions and a consultant within the IT industry. Corey and myself had met years ago now. I was doing some videography work and he was doing what he does with Curbside, which is it's a very large scale AV music for a music festival basically. So we were both on a location, made connections, and now many years later, here we are. But before I share any more information, Corey, how about for the viewers, for the listeners, share a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and where are you headed?
Sure. I'm Corey Benson. I've been in the audiovisual industry since I was a teenager running sound for my dad's band. That equates to over 35 years in the audiovisual industry. I also am an IT consultant, working with large multinational corporations on projects of varying scope and size. Small projects from $500,000 projects up to I'm on a project right now that's about $200 million of investiture from a large financial services firm based out of Canada. Kind of a 60-40, I would say 60% of my life is the IT professional, and 40% of my life is audiovisual, lighting, sound, production for bands, weddings, corporate events, etc. If it needs to be loud and pretty, we're there to help you out. That's what we do.
So no, just recently, what is it, in the last month, transitioned from a nice space into a massive space for Curbside Productions, where you have a significant studio space for a live stage, huge, and a number of other rooms for all of your other production stuff that you might work on. But when I had stopped in, I remember chatting a little bit. There was a really big contract, an annual contract that you work on, and we don't have to go into details on that. But I remember back then, was it right around the time the lockdown? They had talked about a lockdown, or had it already been implemented? It hadn't been implemented yet, had it?
No, they canceled 1 week before the declaration that the state was going into its stay-at-home order.
Or the stay-at-home, yeah.
So it was. We can give a little bit of details. We support the largest medical device conference in the world, which is based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the University of Minnesota campus. It is it's a significant portion of our income throughout the year. It's a massive event. We handle 13 rooms. We handle all the projection, the lighting, the wireless microphones. We do video recording. We do video production. We do custom software for poster presentation stuff that they do. Just a lot of custom high-end work that we do for them. They're a fantastic client. They've been a significant portion of our income for over 13 years. And this year they canceled about 5 weeks before the event. It was a pretty significant blow. My crew depends on that midwinter income. We don't do as much work in the winter. Most of our work is in the summer, with weddings and bands and street dances, county fairs, etc. So it was a pretty big hit, and got a little scary. And it came exactly 5 weeks after we had begun moving into our brand new space, which is 4 times the size of our old space, and therefore has the commensurate rental increase as well. So plus the build out. So it was it's been a scary couple of months trying to handle this.
Yeah, I remember when you had mentioned, because I know at the time there was a lot of uncertainty still, and everybody was still trying to maintain that glass half full, and there's still opportunity. But I remember then you were kind of going, hey man, this is a big one. And I always appreciated working on that contract with you from my end, doing the video work, because doing video work when your entire couple of days or roughly a week is surrounded with highly intelligent people sharing highly intelligent information. I loved it. It felt like I was in college courses for medicine and technology, and I was able to work with you on this project. So when I heard that they were shutting it down, it was kind of like, I knew for you, it was, it's a significant event in the McNamara Alumni Center. It's a beautiful location, one of the locations. Yep. But something that I find pretty significant with you is that when I first met you, I always understood you as the AV, like production, right? Like big speakers, awesome sound, bass in your face, lasers and lights. And then the more I got to know you, the more I found that there was this other parallel track that you were using to ensure that you were able to do this other thing that you enjoyed so much for so long.
Yep.
Anybody that's ever been in production knows that above and beyond probably any other industry, it is always working against you. So it doesn't matter, even at the best of times, production is trying to make you fail. It's this, I think that's why most people enjoy it, is it's always problem solving. You've always got to figure it out. You're always under the gun. And, you know, even on really big technical projects that you've thought out well in advance, inevitably there's going to be something that happens and puts you under the knife, and it's exciting. But to where you're at right now, do you think that you would have been able to be moving forward had you not been in a consultant role or holding this other, not even close?
No. So the beautiful thing about Curbside Productions is some people are into bass fishing. Some people have a 1964 and a half Ford Mustang on blocks in their garage. Some people they fly around the world, you know, and that's their hobby. That's what they do. That's what they spend their money on. For years, decades, literally, I've supported my sound and lighting production company as a hobby. And only in the last 5 years or so have I really started seriously turning it into more of a business. So the goal right now has been to get to the point where we would have the production facility that we just moved into February 1st, that we built out over the month of February, getting to the point where we could support these high-end corporate clients like the university, et cetera, and turn it into a profiting business. I've had the advantage of having a business that 100% supported itself and didn't require a lot of investiture from me, except in, you know, if I bought a $20,000 PA upgrade, that came out of my pocket, and then I paid myself back over time out of the company. This was the year that we were going to 100% get off of, so to speak, my back. I wasn't going to be responsible for rent anymore. The company was,
Right.
things like that. That has not happened.
Right. 2020, the year that everybody was going to go into it with 2020 vision. And it's just kind of this amazing thing, right? So
the biggest issue for us is, you know, as soon as they started locking down, in 10 minutes, 3 Fridays ago, I lost $185,000 in literally 10 minutes. I just
contracts cut.
Yep. Since then, we've lost another about $65,000 in contracts. These are events that aren't coming through right now, that will not happen. The good news is, what we have found is all of the people who had events in April, May, June, many of them are rescheduling from their Saturday to a Sunday or a Friday in July or August or September of this year. So we might end up having one of the busiest July, August, Septembers, depending on how things go.
Sure.
So it's all, you know, we're just not sure what's going to happen, and that's the hardest part. It's the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think based on your track record with, you know, because I mean, it's pretty much been about 5 years then since we had met, right around there.
Yep.
I've been watching your progress. You know, when I found out how long you'd been in the production industry, I was actually a little surprised. I'm like, oh wow, because of how much gains I've seen you make in the last 5 years. You know, and it was exciting to see you going from, you know, the smaller rig setups, which are still pretty big. And like for the viewers, listeners, you got to understand, Corey's working on a scale that is not, you know, your DJ in, you know, like a school dance. We're talking big shows. And then seeing, you know, the tail end of 2019, you got into some pretty significant gear, able to support some pretty significant events, outdoor events, systems that need significant AV. And then not only that, but the crew. You've spent a lot of time building out your crew.
Yes.
Do you mind talking a little bit about kind of what's going on with the team? Because it's a big team that you've developed, and it's kind of across the board. How is that working out?
So it's been really hard. That's been the most difficult thing, is trying to find ways to keep really good people employed and get money into their pocket. Where it's an industry that lends itself towards gig-based professionals, and
100%.
so almost everybody that works for me is a 1099 employee. They're not technically an employee; they're a contractor. They come, they do a show, then I don't see them for a week, and then they come back and they do another show. I don't see them for 2 months, and then they come back and they do 5 weeks of nonstop every day of the week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really depends, and that's the industry. That's the way it works. I've been 1099 in this industry for 25 plus years.
Yeah.
So that makes it really hard. I can't provide them with proof that they have worked for me other than the 1099 from last year. I can't, I don't pay into unemployment insurance. So all the money that they made for me, they can't use that in their unemployment insurance, because that's the industry. That's the way it works. One of the things we're looking at changing once we come out of this and can get back on our feet fiscally is converting everybody to some type of a W-2 based employee, which means sometimes they'll make less money, sometimes they'll make more money. Honestly, more often than not, they'll make less money. Just because of the nature of the way the industry works. I pay not a premium, but I'm just above paying a premium for the people who I have working for me. And we do a lot of training, offline training and things like that, to make them, more valuable to the rest of the industry. It's going to be difficult to make that transition, but we think it'll be helpful for them in the future. So that's one of the goals that we have now, is to identify the core people, turn them into W-2 hourly employees, pay into their insurance, pay into their taxes, do all of that at an hourly rate.
That's a significant undertaking coming from somebody that has been 1099 for many years. It's those paychecks, when you get them coming in, it might seem like in a lot of cases you look at it and you're like, yeah, getting paid. But then when you really do the math, when you really get down to the brass tacks, you might as well pull out 35%. You want to pull out, you don't want to get caught at the end of the year with Uncle Sam saying, you owe me a lot of digits. So yeah, that's going to be a big transition for a lot of guys and gals. I'm sure they'll appreciate it though.
Hopefully it helps. The other side of that, to answer the other half of your question, what have we been doing? We've had a couple, not just a few. I won't say they're illegal events, because they're not illegal. They were just barely following the letter of the stay-at-home order, that we've been able to get people a couple of dollars here and there. And so with the performance space, we completed it literally the day before the stay-at-home order came in. It's an
amazing space, by the way. Like when I went to the studio to grab some of my gear, I hadn't seen it for, it had probably been a week and a half or 2 weeks, I think. And how you finished it with the walkway, the overhead, like forget about it. If you got any pictures, I could throw that in. That would be kind of cool to.
I will get you some pictures. Interestingly, it sounds like this probably won't be out in time, but we're actually doing a Facebook live stream tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time that will show exactly what we built. The thing that I always tell people is, on February 1st, when we walked in the door, this was an empty room, and we turned it into literally a concert venue for about 20 people.
It's a high end. It's an amazing stage to do any type of a performance on and record anything. And then there's video on top of it if you wanted to go and create that type of content as well. So multifaceted space, super cool to see. So I guess for other people that maybe they are gig people, 1099s, like some advice, because I think it's kind of self-illustrative about how you've managed to kind of so far weather this massive change with specifically to gig types of folks, contractors. Is it just basically like if you're going to go down that gig route, have something else on the side, or maybe not even on the side, but that you need to focus your energies on as well?
So the sad fact of this music industry and video industry and film industry for a number of years has been, if you don't have a main gig that's covering your nut, it's really difficult to be successful. It's not just 1%, it's 0.01% that can actually survive on being a full-time professional artist of any kind.
Yeah.
We need to be very supportive of our artists as a community. Part of the reason that I was excited about the $2 trillion bill was that there were monies put aside in there for artists, for gig-based musicians, for gig-based artists of any kind. Thank God, because they literally have no way. The only way they can make any money is by selling their wares, and they can't get in front of anybody to sell their wares. A lot of people are transitioning to online. That's part of the reason we're doing the live stream tonight, just to allow musicians the opportunity to show what they do and do what they do in front of people.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting transition, though. I know there's a lot of hangout lounges now. There's actually somebody that you're familiar with, Theodore Stye, or Theo, pianist, and I recently seen there's a hangout lounge where go in and play piano. Other friends doing the guitar stuff, or even there's Paige Ellis, who's somebody that you're actually familiar with, the R&B singer locally in Minneapolis, singing. But this is, I think, some of what they're doing, they're just doing more of now, because it's just being forced. But yeah, much respect to the people that are out there that is their lifeline is this gig thing, this gig lifestyle, because it's it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming months. So what I see we're hitting that time mark. I know you're a busy guy, so I guess moving forward, what are your plans here in the next a couple of months? It's obvious that you're aware everything is uncertain, but in a perfect world, what are you looking at?
Our plan right now is just to find a way to give musicians, artists, anybody who needs the opportunity. We can keep a really thin crew here to use our performance space to allow people to actually get out and kind of provide their wares. We're trying to do it in a way that's extremely cost effective, so they can actually potentially make some money off of it. We're trying to open the space up to those who just need a hand. And our goal is just to get really good at what we're doing here over the next 2 months. So here's the interesting part. We had always planned on having the space that we built do exactly what this virus situation needs. So we were ahead of the game in that we were already doing the setup for it. We were already prepping for it. We had already bought the equipment for it. It was going to happen. And then suddenly they said, you can't even have 2 people in that space. So we are going to push that envelope as much as we can in order to try and support people who need the most help of anybody in our economy right now, which is the gig-based musicians. Yeah. And try and just put nickels and dimes in the pockets where we can. We're going to continue to pay for the space. We have enough funds on hand right now in order to make it through about the end of July. If it doesn't come around by the end of July, then we'll have to sit down and think about what we have to do. Sure. But I'm optimistic that by July we should be performing again, at least outdoor events. So
yeah, that's great. That's a great plan. That's a great mindset to have. It's one of the things I've always appreciated about you, is that even under some of the most extreme conditions where, again, production is working against you, you're able to see the light. That's great. So I guess with that, I mean, I don't want to hold you up too much more. For all the viewers and listeners, all the information for Corey or Curbside Productions can be found in the About section below. Potentially if there's a link or something set up already for that live stream. Is it going to be something you're going to try to do recurring?
We're going to try. We have 3 planned right now. And the reason we're only going out 3 weeks on it is one thing I want to mention about the live streams. The 3 that we have planned right now are more to support music venues that have been supporting musicians over the last 20 to 50 years here in the upper Midwest. So like specifically tonight's is for a venue that's been supporting music for decades.
What's the venue?
You had to ask that.
I know you work with a lot. You work with a lot of venues and a lot of The commander. All right, the
Commander.
commander.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you. I had something else in my head, and I was like, wait, is this week the commander, or is it?
Sure.
So yeah, this is the commander, and they've been supportive of live music literally since the day that they opened the doors. There's no tip jar being put out for anybody. We're just trying to say, hey, this is a place you want to go to once they reopen. Support them for having supported music for so long. So, and that's one of the things that's going to be on each of these live streams that we do, is it's supporting a different venue. We're going to use the Shirts and Skins band, which is a band that we do a lot of work with. We're their main audiovisual provider for sound and lighting production.
Significant that nationally they're well known.
Yep. They tour the entire country all the way down into Mexico. So they do Canada. Awesome. So great band. They can put out up to 5 units in a given night, which you can call me and ask me what that means.
Yeah, right.
So pretty cool. So tonight should be fun, and next week should be fun, and then hopefully the weekend after that will be fun. And then hopefully we'll have additional information as to whether or not we can continue to do this. We know we're pushing the envelope on it right now, but we need to support these people. So somehow, some way, we're going to make it happen.
Outstanding. Well, there's definitely enough space in there to maintain the social distancing, even on your stage, because that thing is monstrous.
16 by 24.
Yeah, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. Great. Well, thank you, Corey. It's appreciated as always. Pleasure, and look forward to connecting with you again here in the near future. For viewers and listeners, again, in the About section, you can find all the information, and stick around. We're going to have more of this kind of stuff coming your way. Until next time, take care.